Well, hello there. My name is Professor Tom Berry. I am your instructor for SOC 201, Introduction to Sociology, the Foundations. And this class, we explore the micro level all the way to the macro level. That'll make sense as we kind of get investigated or as we kind of move into this class. But basically, just trying to examine the human experience from our everyday common lived experience, day-to-day life stuff, what we eat, what we drink, what we consume, our identities, who we are, all that kind of stuff, all the way to the macro level, structures and institutions, and just think about the complexity of how things operate. We could look at something like individuals who are unhoused, individuals who are homeless. That we have a lot of different things going on, right? The individual level of the individual who's homeless, the individual who is the onlooker, the bystander, the person who is on the sidelines, who's not directly experiencing being unhoused, but has particular perceptions and ideas, right? There's a whole realm kind of going on there, how we as a culture assign meaning towards individuals who are unhoused. Like there's so much to unpackage at that, even at that kind of perceptive micro level. And then we start to get into all the way to the macro level, structural kind of things about institutional responses, mental health responses, issues of inequalities that are there. There's a lot to kind of go through. And so my hope and goal with the class of, an introductory class or any class in sociology is to give you more concepts and ideas and theories to think about the complexities of the social world, to hopefully make the world more complex and more meaningful, and ultimately to understand your journey in this world in a more detailed, informative, and valuable way. So understanding oneself and one's own lived experience. So anyway, that's a little bit about me and the goal of the class, or the focus of the class. The goal of this video is to give you an overview of the class, talk about the assignment that's due the first week of the term the night before our class, and just kind of go through some of the basic stuff. So in your Canvas, right? So you got all your classes listed there, listed there. In your 201, you will see a place for, well, you'll be here already, right? Because you're getting the video, but there's a little background about me. If you're interested, sort of my biography, I'm not going to go through that here, but just sort of how I got into sociology. It didn't happen intentionally. It was just, my life I took different educational career pathways and stumbled into sociology ultimately, and have not turned back since that moment. Here's the course syllabus. We'll kind of walk through that, and also the textbook. And then this is what we're going to focus on here to just kind of walk through kind of course requirements, the textbook, and then chapter summary requirements. All these, hang in there. We're just going to walk through some basics, and it's going to be important information to be able to go through. Let's start off with the syllabus. I got to stop share here. There we go. Okay, let me make that a little bit bigger. Make me a little bit bigger. All right, so in our class 245, 1245, 235 is where we meet. I didn't include where we meet. I believe it's Cascade Halls. I have to look. Yeah, so the class is structured where there's a lecture video every week that happens. I release it the night after, so midnight on a Wednesday night. The next week it opens up, or Thursday night of every week. I open it up for the stuff for the following week, excuse me. And the lecture video is just kind of walking through kind of core ideas. The idea is to process that information from the lecture video, complete the assignment, turn it in the night before our class. That way, when we come to class, we have one class meeting a week. It's like we can get down into the details. We can review. So it's a little bit of upfront work on your part. Hopefully it's meaningful. It's directed. The way it's structured is to make it informative and meaningful and engaging. And then we come into class and we kind of process. So that's kind of the focus of the class. Office hours, just they're there. I'm in MODOC 211. If you ever have any questions, email me, contact me, Zoom meet, whatever. Those are my scheduled office hours, but I meet with students over the weekend, as far as Zoom meet or whatever works into your schedule. Don't let that be a barrier. Overall kind of goals that we're after is basically develop more critical ways of thinking, so critical analysis of social phenomena, human behavior. As we'll kind of talk about in this class, our cultural values sometimes really misrepresent human behavior, and they misrepresent human behavior in very particular ways, and it has significant impact. So we're trying to unpackage and understand human behavior, the connection between individual and society. Ultimately, it's about fostering our own growth and development. And a greater access to understanding of and appreciation of the lived experiences of different groups in society itself. And then we're going to look at just different stuff going on within culture, institutions, practices, to understand where they come from and differences. And then specifically for SOC, structures and institutions, power, privilege, advantage, disadvantage, key areas of sociology that we're going to go after. We're going to start with getting grounded in main theories of sociology. There's 3 main traditions. There's a lot actually more, but we cover the 3 general traditions within sociology, but there's more than I just want to let you know there's more than 3. And if you're interested, you can ask me and I can kind of go through some of those. Number 3 is to evaluate our own perspective and understand perspectives of others. Step outside of our own lived experience and imagine the world from different perspectives. And I think that's an important part of one's own understanding of self and other, and also being, civic responsibility and engagement. Number 4, analyze values and beliefs, traditions, structure, larger society, social forces, and then finally express that through writing, and also in class discussion and things like that. The basic structure, like I said, is assignment every week that goes over the videos. Class attendance and participation is really key. I'll talk about when I get to the assignment about if you're unable to be in class, how we can kind of address that if something happens, if you get sick, life event happens, we figure out, work together in partnership to facilitate your education and learning for the week that you missed. And then we have a presentation near the end of the term or at the end of the term, week 10. It's got key takeaways. There's a midterm assessment. It's not really an exam. It's just kind of reflecting on where we've been in the course so far. And the same is true as of the final exam. These are both take home, the midterm and the final are take home essay style exams that just require some reflective work. You can go through all the different, details of the assignments. They're all there. Here's some good information just in terms of if you need assistance with technology, great resources on campus. If you do have a documented disability, let me know so I can provide the appropriate accommodations. Even if something would be helpful, you don't have a documented disability, but you're like, man, that would be really helpful. Like I process information differently. You mean, let me know, see what I can do. I'm here to help you be successful in any way that I can, or in most ways that I can. So in reasonable ways. So let me know if there's something I can do to help. To let you know, there's resources if there's questions of discrimination while you're on campus and in class, outside of class, just while you're involved here at COCC. Gender equity, gender discrimination, sexual harassment, sexual assault, bullying, cyberbullying, not appropriate, not allowed, protections for individuals who are on the receiving end of that. So resources there for you. Also to know that there's counseling services that are free and available to students. It's a great resource. Time period now, it's just like a turbulent world sometimes, and just having a life coach by your side can be a great help, relieve a little bit of pressure, put things in perspective. So resources for you there. Principles of community, core values that represent this idea of the core value of respecting the voices and perspectives of others, promoting empathy and understanding versus division and separation, personal responsibility and integrity in the work that people do, and creating a learning environment that's conducive to exploring ideas and supporting each other in terms of our journey of exploring ideas. And those are the principles of community in general. There is safe zone training for LGBTQ+, identifying allies, supporters, people who are curious about finding out more. There is safe zone training on campus. You can go to this, open up the syllabus from that week 0 on campus, and you can click on that link to get there to sign up for training. You do not get insurance by being in this class. I'm not sure why we have to include that. There are basic resources like website or links, resources, support networks at the college, food, housing, clothing, other things like that. So great resource list if you're in a place of struggle. I probably should remove Marcus's name here. It's just going to be contact, here or here for more information. And then do your own work. Key part, every assignment you turn in goes through a Turnitin plagiarism check. So I get a kind of a screen on the authenticity report. I'm interested in what you know. You learn by writing. So when you're, sometimes it's, I think 80% of the time or more, it's really an innocent mistake that students are, looking around for information, they pull information, and sometimes they're repeating the exact words, or just most often people don't copy and paste. But when that happens, it's like, it's just like, it's clear, it's obvious, it's a major foul and a major problem. So just always put things in your own words. And if it's an issue, depending on the extent of an issue, it could result in an F on the assignment. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. I want to know what you know, not copy and pasting information from somewhere. So there's a weekly schedule. You can go through the syllabus and look at that, but also, as I'll show you in Canvas, it's laid out. Well, here, I'll go there now. Like here's the layout of all, this is all fall term or winter term. Here's our class for spring term. You'll see it's like this grid, right? So you could download the syllabus and you get that, or you could look at it this way and just go, boom, click on it, takes you to the week. Okay, so went through that. Okay, so textbook, just FYI, with the textbook, you need a textbook for the class. Every week there's two sections to the assignment. First is a review of chapter content. The second is the review of the video lecture. That's a structured review. So you need the book. If you can go to our website, go to the class schedule, go to this class, SOC 201, go to the far right. You'll see a place that says textbook. It'll take you to the COCC bookstore, where you can go down to the bookstore, contact the bookstore. You can purchase it that way. You do not need any. You just need the book. So if they're selling some other thing, some edition for like quizzes and things like that, like you don't need that. You just need the book itself. So if you're going to use a 7th edition, but if you have an earlier one, the 5th or 6th, that's fine as well. Also, just as an option, there is a downloadable 6th edition PDF, free, available online, no charge. Type in Ferris Stein, the authors of the book, real world PDF, and in your search engine, and you should be able to download it. So anyway, great resource there, all for free. Let's talk about the summary requirements, and yeah, that'd be like the main thing to kind of convey here. Kind of zoom in a little bit. All right, so just kind of walk through like, okay, why write? I think, writing is a way to express knowledge, information. It's a way to gain knowledge, it's a way to learn. So, I mean, in some classes, it's more important to memorize content, right? In anatomy and physiology, it's important to understand, linkages between different parts of the body, but it's really important to know, commit to memory, as parts of our anatomy. Social science classes, sociology in particular, I think it's critical thinking and evaluation, so it has to come through in writing. Each week, with the exception of the midterm week, we have video lecture assignment. Then the assignment is section 1, review the textbook content, section 2, the video stuff. So a hybrid model like this, where we have one class period physically, and then we have the sort of online content, requires due diligence on your part to do some work on your own. I would encourage you, if you have questions over content, to bring them to class. I'm all about class engagement. So I call on people, I engage with the class. I would rather have a conversation. I don't want to be up there, lecturing. I will provide, I have the knowledge, I have the expertise. I will provide that, but I'm not the only one who has expertise in the class. You have your own knowledge and experience and perspective, and it's us working in partnership together. So if something comes up in the content, you're like, whoa, I need more information. Feel free to let me know. Midterm final takes place in class meetings, reflective kind of thing. So we'll talk more about that later on. But anyway, so the assignment, section 1, and you'll submit these in, I'll show you in a minute in Canvas. So you're submitting in Canvas your assignments the night before, by midnight, the night before our class meeting. Section 1 involves taking 2 concepts, themes, ideas, and basically writing about them. the item you select should be something, it could be something really narrow, like this concept of anomie, normlessness brought about by sudden change. It could be taken like that, like define it, explain it, what's its value, what's importance, why did you select it, how do you see it? Just basically engage in the textbook, find things that you're intrigued by, you want to know more, you want to write about it. It doesn't matter to me what those two things are. What I'm interested in is your engagement with the concept or ideas. So demonstrate engagement, understanding, value, that you've gained something from understanding that particular topic and idea. I'll provide a couple different samples. I'll do that later. I'll do that before the first week of the term, provide a few examples from previous terms so you can see what that might look like. But that'll be in section 1. It's all going to be in one document that you submit. Section 1, 2 ideas from the chapter. Some weeks we cover 2 chapters, so it'll be 2 over both chapters. Section 2 is the questions embedded in the PowerPoint lecture. I put questions, so I'll walk through a theme, define, explain ideas, and then I'll provide some questions for you to respond to. So it's responding to the prompts. That's the section 2 component. Ooh, I should back up. Section 1, make sure you put your word count for each one of those, 100, 200 words, 250, somewhere in there. I'd probably say more like 150 to 200. I probably will change that maybe even before, change that in the document itself. Yeah, so where was that? Yeah, section 2, walking through the prompts, due before our class meeting. Here's, if something happens, right, you're unable to complete assignment, you're unable to be in class, I'm all about the partnership and encouraging working together to ensure the integrity of the class is kept intact and that you're learning quality information. So if you get sick, if something happens, you got a life event happens, unable to get to assignment, let me know before the assignment due date. I don't need to know the reason why. Just say, Mr. Berry, this is what's going on, or Mr. Berry, I'm not unable to get to the assignment this week. I will have it in before the next week. So let me know, give me a kind of timeline. Trying to prevent a pattern. So if it happens like once, happens twice, life, it's just being, we're just adjusting based on some life stuff going on. If it happens like consistently, it's like, okay, well, we need to figure something else out because that pattern's not helpful to you, and it's not helpful to the overall learning of material from the class. The key there is keeping me in contact, or keeping in contact with me. The second part, like we're going back to attendance and participation, there's 15 points for being in class and being engaged and participating in class every week. If you're unable to be there, contact me, let me know. We can meet in a Zoom session. You can stop by before class, after class, office hours, kind of talk through the material. But to recoup those, to recoup or to get credit for the engagement, the participation points, is to meet with me somehow, either Zoom or in my office, and set up a time. I'll leave that up to you. It's your responsibility to contact me to make that happen. And then, sometimes you can just do it via email too. But, just, if you can kind of get my message here, key is work with me, contact me, communication is key. I just say here, man, life can get bumpy. A lot of stuff can go on. I'm not about strict adherence to due dates. Sometimes that's important. Like the final exam, it's due at that time, by that time, that's the reality. But man, if a bump happens in your life, keep me in the loop. I don't need to know why, just contact me, give me like your expected turn-in date, or set up a time for a Zoom meeting or stop by my office for the attendance participation thing. It's all about the conversation, working together to make things happen. Let's work with each other and we can take care of that. Okay, so I think that may be it. It's great here for some additional resources on campus. I think here's PDFs. FYI, I did put PDFs for chapter 1 and chapter 2 out there. I would encourage you to read the overview each week, give you a little bit of background about the week. Here's the chapter summary requirements. Let's see what I put here. I think it's just that document we were just working through. Yep. And let's go back. Oop. So here's where you go to submit the assignment. And I think that's it for now. I recommend and also encourage you to read this article. It's a short write-up about the 3 sociological perspectives. It's probably, I don't know, 6 pages long, something like that. It is a great review. You know, if you've taken 3 social classes, I mean, I read that every once in a while, go back and you just kind of glean different things, you know. So regardless of how far you are along, how far along you are in SOC, that document can be really helpful. All right. Hope you had a great spring break. Look forward to working with you throughout the course of the term. Drop me an email if you have questions, and I'll see you in class on Thursday. Remember, the assignment is due the night before our class meeting, even the first week of the term. All right. Be safe. Be well.